So as you guys know, I'm a big fan of the original Happy Death Day. I just did a 40-minute spoiler discussion on it for my Slasher Sunday, so you can go on over there and see me throw out all sorts of random theories on that film, because I had a fucking fun time breaking that film down. So when I heard that this was coming out, I was excited. I was like, hell yeah, let's return. I really like these characters. We'll see where they go with it. I didn't know where they were going to go with it, and I really didn't, because I avoided all trailers on this. And so I got to go into this pretty much blind, really not knowing anything. And I watched the trailers after I saw the movie just to see if that was a good idea. And holy shit, was it ever. I seriously fucking hate trailers, and I'm not watching them anymore. This is why I avoid that shit. You should not be allowed to put anything in the second or third act in a trailer, especially the third act. Come on now. So I'm done with trailers. I seriously fucking can't stand them. But anyway, so being a big fan of the first one and having just watched the original to prep myself for this movie, I was really pleased with this sequel. I had a great time with it. And I do think it's imperative to watch the original right before you go and see this, because there is a lot of callbacks to it. I mean, the whole film is a callback to it. And I want to say that as a continuity person, I'm really big into continuity. If you've watched, my Saw reviews, if you've seen, I am a stickler when it comes to continuity. And I don't feel like that gets enough credit. I don't feel like a film like this will get its credit for the attention to detail in order to stick to the continuity of the first movie. Because as I'm sure you can guess, we yet again are looping within Tree's world, and these characters and events and stuff come back, and to 1 year later or a year and a half later, or however long before they started filming this, after the script was written, even writing a script that has to work into this and trying to create something new within that and coming up with new ideas is really impressive. But bringing back every single location, set, character, freaking wardrobe, all of that stuff, their hairstyles, their everything has to be perfect. I couldn't spot a damn thing that was off when it came to that. When it came to just the attention of the settings, the people, the situations, all of that. Holy shit, what incredible attention to detail. Thank you. These really play seamlessly together. Like them or not, you should be able to appreciate that. One thing that I think that people may not like about this one is they do go a little overboard at times with certain comedy that is a little too self-aware. They're very short-lived moments. One in particular that's like a 1 or 2 second scene that I rolled my eyes so hard I think I gave myself brain damage. It seriously was, it was like one little glaring that I'm going to have to endure on further viewings of it. It's silly. It's something very minute and small, and I've seen something like it in other films, but I didn't care for that. But in addition to that, I don't know if people will like the explanation. I know a lot of horror fans are kind of down on horror movies, even if they're more comedy than horror, explaining themselves. Yes, this one does get more sci-fi, and it gets more into the explanation side of things of how this happened and whatnot. So I think that might lose somebody, and then they're going to be like, oh God, that's fucking ridiculous and silly. And it's like, it's a Groundhog Day type scenario where a day is looping itself. If that isn't ridiculous enough and they can get you on board for that, I don't feel like this is too much more of a stretch for you to, accept. But once again, Tree, the actress who plays Tree, is phenomenal. One thing that they really up in this movie is the drama. There are some sequences in this film, because something happens within this film that is a very emotional thing. And man, it really landed for me. And I feel like the reason it landed for me is not only because I understood the weight of it from the first movie, but because of how it's conveyed to us through Tree, the actress who plays Tree, man, she's phenomenal, man. She really, she can hit the scream queen moments of the horror. She can hit the comedic timing with the comedy stuff. And now, you know, she did some drama in the first one, and she was great. I thought she was fantastic in that one, and she did not let me down or disappoint here. She really landed her, you know, her dramatic stuff as well. And man, I felt for it. I really did. I did not expect to go into this movie and actually feel something. And I felt the message behind what was going on in those dramatic scenes, and the message behind what ultimately plays out in the end here was a great message. It's not a heavy-handed message, I don't feel. But regardless, it did hit with me, and I took it to heart and was like, wow, yeah, no. And it's not a message I haven't seen before. I have, but regardless, it's a message that, you know, it's kind of timeless. You can say it over and over, and it's just it's a good reminder. But yeah, I was a big fan. I think that this, a lot of people are saying this is way more comedy than horror, as opposed to the first one. Like, they think that there's more comedy in this than horror. I disagree. I feel like there's as much horror as there was in the first one. There isn't a lot. I just rewatched the first one. It's not super horror. It's a little more comedy than horror. And I feel like there's as much horror, but where comedy is taken away from is in the drama scenes. That's what's taking a lot of the meat away from the comedy. So I disagree that this one's more comedy, but there is a little more like ridiculous comedy. Like, the comedy in it is kind of amped up. So I do understand why people would think that there's more comedy. But what I'm saying is, like, if you were talking about allotted screen time, like 20 minutes was comedy, 20 minutes was drama, 20 minutes, you know, whatever. I feel like the amount of comedy is actually probably lessened because there's more screen time being taken for drama. And the horror was probably about the same amount of time. It's just that the comedy that is on screen is just amped up to 11. They do some sequences of comedy that I was like, that was a little too much. A little too self-referential, stuff like that. But overall, man, I had a good damn time with this movie. Not all the comedy landed for me, for sure, so I can't say that all worked, but I really liked revisiting these characters, and I did like the twist that they took on this story, and I felt like it was risky, and I felt like it was inventive, and that, you know, that they went for it, and they didn't just try to rehash the same thing, which would have been ironic, seeing as what the story of the first movie is. Now, certain things do play out like the original for sure, but they do push the boundaries and they do play with things within it. And I also heard that there is an after credits sequence, which I did not see. So I am seeing Alita Battle Angel tomorrow, and hopefully before the movie or after the movie, Happy Death Day to You will be playing in one of the theaters, and it'll be ending so that I can walk in and see the fucking thing so I can talk about it on the podcast later this week. But I'm really upset that I did not get to see it, because supposedly it promises another installment. So I will look forward to that. I have no fucking clue where the hell they could possibly even go with a third one, but hey, I'll check it out, because so far, 2 for 2 for me. Good time. If you're a big fan of the first one, and you're open to a more, you know, explanation-driven science fiction, drama, comedy, horror, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And if you're a big fan of the character Tree and the actress who plays her and all the supporting characters around her, they're all very good as well. So I am looking forward to what the response will be on this film from fans of the first. There's a lot of people who are just naysayers from the get-go, because they're like, fuck PG-13. And I'll tell you this, if you haven't seen the first one, you're going to be lost as shit on this one. You definitely need to see the first one. So that all being said, guys, let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you've seen the first one. Let me know if you're even excited about this. The PG-13 thing might turn you off. Hey, I get it, but I don't know. Check out the first one. If you don't like the first one, you're not going to like this one. I would be very surprised to find somebody that's like, hated the first one, loved the second one. I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. But hey, you never know. Let me know, guys. All right.